Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the School Zone podcast. We have Jason Midkiff, Jason Mack, and our special guest today is Sandra Kent with Oklahoma A+ Schools. Huge fan of her work that she's doing for our kiddos, bringing arts integration to the classroom. I'm a huge fan. We used it at the elementary school that I was at personally. So it's our privilege and our honor to bring you Sandra Kent, ladies and gentlemen. Sandra, welcome. Good morning.
Thank you. Good morning.
Big things going on with A+ Schools, huge in the state. Will you tell us a little bit about, first of all, who you are, where you're from, how you ended up as the executive director of A+ Schools?
Yeah, absolutely. So I was, how far back do you like to go?
Ma'am.
We leave that up to you. This is your show. We're just here.
It was a cold night in December.
I was born in, anyway. So actually I was an elementary teacher, and I taught 5th, 6th grade age for that time. I did that for 8 years and absolutely loved it. And I was always about trying to really just meet each student's need. And I'm a little older than you guys, and at that time...
It does not show.
Thanks, I appreciate that. So at that time, we had some of that freedom, but yet also it was not a real common thing. And so I was kind of a rogue in what I did, but I was fortunate to have principals who let me do that, and we did a lot of crazy things. And then I decided that, and actually... I knew when I was 15 years old that I would be a school principal someday, which is like the craziest thing. Who really wants to do that or think that? But I knew I would be. And so after 8 years of teaching, I became a school principal, an elementary principal. And when I was in about my 2nd year of being a principal, I got this card in the mail that said there's this really cool thing that's going to happen in Oklahoma called A+ Schools, and we're going to try that out. And so I thought, this sounds really neat. So I went and heard about it, and it was really awesome. And I thought, as a teacher, I wish I would have had that kind of help and structure and support, because it sounded like the way I wanted to teach. So fast forward, I took that school. We became a member of the network in the 2nd year of existence of A+, and then I moved to a couple of different schools as a principal, and was fortunate to be recognized as a National Distinguished Principal for Oklahoma in 2008.
Wow.
And so, and then I also kept working with A+ and bringing my schools to the A+ network, because I knew the solid foundation it gave us, and then allowed my teachers to have freedom to be able to teach their students. Even as we got into the high stakes testing, they were still able to have opportunity to really focus on those kids and their needs, and our test scores just naturally followed. And that's what we really liked about it. So then 6 years ago, the executive director of A+ decided it was time for her to retire, and I was fortunate enough to get to take on the role. And so that's how I've landed here, and love what I'm doing.
Nice.
Yeah.
Will you kind of explain a little bit about what A+ is for those listeners that don't know?
Absolutely. So A+ Schools, we ignite creativity, imagination, and in schools, teachers, students. And what we do is we're the main work we do, because we are now the Oklahoma A+ Schools Institute at the University of Central Oklahoma, and the main foundational work we do is the A+ Schools Network. So we are a model that trains schools as an entire school together. We're not a send one teacher now and another one next year and when you can afford it. We want the school to decide to do it as a whole. And we have a 3-year implementation model. So we have summer summits where the schools come in. And again, whole school. If you want to send your lunch lady and your secretary along with all the teachers and your teaching assistants, whoever you feel is important to the transformation and the work of your school, that's who we want in the training. So we're very dedicated to that. So basically, you start out with a 5-day summer institute where you begin to learn about the 8 essentials of A+, which do include the arts. And we really let the schools drive, and we help navigate as they go. So those 8 essentials are the things that people commit to, but every school unfolds and looks different. Okay, we're not cookie cutter. We're not start at A, go to B, get to C. We want every school, because every school is different. So just like each classroom, we want teachers meeting the needs of every student and figuring out how to best do that within a framework. That's what we want schools doing, and so that's the model we have.
Yeah.
So the rumor on the street is you might have a pretty neat conference coming up sometime.
We do, absolutely, yeah. So June 9th this year, and it is at the University of Central Oklahoma. We call our conference the Not Your Average Conference because as you've been a part of A+, so you know there's very little we do that would be average comparatively in professional development, all of that. So each year we have an overarching concept. This year it's creativity. And we have 3 keynote special speakers coming in. This year they include Mark Wood. He is one of the founding members of the Trans-Siberian Orchestra.
That's cool.
And he is also the inventor of the Viper and other electric string instruments.
Nice.
And he is an amazing, energetic person who really has a passion for a different way to teach, and he goes into schools and works with schools to electrify their strings.
Cool.
And he does a lot of work in that, but he's really excited about being with us and kind of the expansion into other arts and things. So he's one of them. Wendy Rodrigue, she is a storyteller and a creative and a writer, and she is also the widow of George Rodrigue, who is the artist of the Blue Dog. If anybody out there is familiar with Louisiana culture and look up the Blue Dog, you've probably seen him. You may or may not remember him till you see him. But anyway, she is carrying on his legacy, and like I said, amazing storyteller, and she'll just pull people right in. And then our third speaker this year is Sherry Sturman with the Crayola Company, and she is the education director for Crayola. And I know she's already got
Mac
some
was
amazing
using those
things.
this morning.
You know,
I was using, I was doing a little thank you card.
They are a
welcome back card.
good thing to use. Absolutely. So throughout the day, we group people where they will actually interact with each of those people very personally. It's not just hear them speak and then go off and do something else. So very interactive, lots of things going on. We'll have some great exhibitors. You all will be there. And we will have some artists. We'll connect people with the Arts Council and artists. And so a lot happening that day.
Yeah, that's the beautiful thing about A+. Like you said, it's not like just a sit and get where you just listen to people. It's very hands-on. It's very interactive. I remember whenever I first came on, I was first introduced to it back in 2008. I had gotten my first job as a teacher, and then they said, all right, we're doing this A+ workshop next week, go to it. And I was just like, oh my goodness, like this is how every workshop is going to be. But no, no workshop had ever compared to like the 5-day A+ workshop that I had to, act out stuff and draw stuff and, make a whole bunch of stuff about the multiple intelligences stuff, and made like a bracelet or a necklace or something. It's just a really, really cool program. For schools that are curious about becoming part of the program, like how do they do that?
Yeah, so we're actually in the application mode now for the 21-22 school year. That's really hard to say.
That's right,
yeah, I know.
That's right,
yeah. So because there are a couple of key things that people should know. One is if you really would like your school to do this, there is that application process, but if we accept a school into the network, we have been able to maintain funding where we do not charge schools for this. So we are providing in those first 3 years about $76,000 worth of support and professional development at no cost. And when we say no cost, if you are a school coming from somewhere else in the state, we house you, we feed you breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Really, you have to get yourselves there. That's your cost. Other than that, we're providing everything. So that's a big factor, and something that we've really been proud to maintain is that we haven't had to pass that cost on to schools and districts. So application is, we will begin with some information meetings in May, and those are all posted on our website, and they'll be out on our social media. And those are just an hour long to give people a chance to start learning. we really want to build capacity and help people understand the commitment that it takes. Since there's not a financial commitment, it's really important you understand that for at least 3 years you're going to be involved. Now, we have schools that have been with us for the entire 18 years of our existence. Until you tell us you don't want to be A+,
Right.
you're really A+. And, very few tell us they don't want to be,
Yeah.
so we'll have those information meetings. Then there's the conference as an opportunity to come and learn about us. When we do our summits in the summer where we're training schools, we invite people in to come and see what that looks like. And in the fall, we'll do another pre-application meeting that's a half a day. And we invite teams of principals and teachers to come and spend that time with us to gain even more information and learn more about the actual application. And then those are due in November. And by December, if you're accepted for the next school year.
You, when you were talking, you mentioned kind of those 8 key parts. Can you talk a little bit about those?
Sure.
And why those are so central to?
Yeah, absolutely. So something I really love about the 8 A+ essentials is that they really came from the work. Sometimes when it comes to research as educators, we're kind of like, yeah, researchers said it, but
Right.
we know what we do every day. So the idea of A+ actually came from North Carolina originally, and it was a research project by the Keenan Institute for the Arts asking, what would happen if we put the arts in schools in authentic ways? So fast forward, they started with 25 schools, and in 5 years, they ended with 23 still in the project, which is really unheard of in research. And at the end, the teachers who were involved said, we're not going to stop. This is great. We're going to keep going. So the researchers said, we have all this great data, but help us understand, put it in words with us and give us more to put down in practical ways. So we really love that teachers help to frame those 8 things. The arts, obviously, are one of those for us. And that does set us apart because we obviously all know that the arts get cut a lot. Yeah. And people believe in them. We know they're a core subject, but people still tend to go, well, you can find that somewhere else. Where we say, you have to have the arts to have a really good education and that well-rounded. And ESSA is really starting to recognize that. And we're happy about that. But still finding ways to get it in there and funding can be hard. So arts, curriculum, we help schools to know how to integrate curriculum. We don't have curriculum that we hand over and say, use this. Right. We help people know how to make sense of their curriculum and do different things with it and focus and really decide and filter out what's good for kids and what isn't. Collaboration is one of our essentials, and really the depth of collaboration. When I was a principal, I would say, people think they know how to collaborate till they come and work at our school. And it isn't just, let's sit down and write lesson plans together, and collaboration isn't just teacher to teacher. It's teacher to student, student to student, parents, community, and we really work on the depth of that. Enriched assessment, not one test, one day, but how do we do it constantly? Infrastructure from within the classroom. How do you have resources set up to your whole school? Some people go, well, we can't do the arts. We don't have an arts teacher, or we don't have an auditorium. And so helping people think differently about resources they have, and then finding out, maybe the bus driver knows how to play the trumpet and they can give trumpet lessons, and we never knew that before. So, just there are a lot of, those are the types of things. And I know I didn't cover all 8 of them there, but that gives you a little bit of an idea of what we're about. We really are a whole school framework. So while the arts are a big part of what we do, we're really about making school make sense all the way around.
Yeah, my favorite one of those essentials is the multiple intelligence one. And whenever I was a teacher, I would use that first day and have the kids on a piece of paper cut out all the different colors that represents, whether you're a naturalist thinker or a spatial thinker and stuff like that, and showing them that, you guys possess all these ways of thinking, so you're not just pigeonholed into, being a verbal, learner or a kinesthetic learner, but you possess them all, and so it's important that we work on all of them and find your strengths and work on those weaknesses and stuff like that. So the kids really love that, especially whenever I was teaching middle school, because they go, oh yeah, well I like, oh yeah.
So and that's what I really like. You just said middle school. We work with pre-K through high school, and it again, we found it works at every level. And since it's about each school, we really walk each school through the framework the way they need to, and it's not pigeonholed to one grade level. And then also that ownership that you're talking about, and the brain research, multiple learning pathways, and multiple intelligences. As a principal, I found those to be so powerful, and to watch kids. Our research in Oklahoma too that we did bears out that. Attendance goes up for students, attendance goes up for teachers, teacher retention, that's another consideration. All of those things go up in A+ schools. Test scores, achievement goes up, but also disciplinary issues go down. Yeah. And one of those, as a principal, I know really came from students really understanding how they think and how other people think. And it really brought a lot of respect among them, where even themselves, they were less degrading to themselves. Oh, I'm not smart enough. I can't do. Right. Instead, they would say, I'm really music smart. And so this is really easy for me, or I'm going to use that music to help me. And to watch like a group of students working on a project and walking up to them and them just speaking the language. I wouldn't even ask. They just go, oh, we're working on this project together, and they're math smart, and so they're really figuring out how to fit it on the poster. And I'm word smart, so I'm working on getting all the language right in our essay that goes with this. And they're the art smart, so they're getting the right colors and things. It's like, and I didn't even ask, And I had a little boy one time who got in trouble quite a bit. He was one of my frequent flyers, and he from kindergarten forward, but in second grade, he came in one day from the playground and been sent in, and he's pretty mad, and he'd been playing soccer. And the first thing he did, I had the multiple intelligence posters on my wall in my office, and he walked over second grade and said, all right, I know what I did. And he started pointing to them and saying, I used too much of this, and I should have done that, and I need to do this. And he was pointing to, he's like, he got mad, and he kicked somebody in the shin and took the ball, and so anyway, but to have him basically discipline himself and think that through. And so when he came in and he's saying, I used too much people smarts and I got mad and kicked them, and I should have calmed down and used my self smarts. And now I need to go back and apologize. I'm like, okay, so
as a second grader,
as a second grader, and I'm like, and what do we need to do now? Well, I think I need to sit in the rest of this time. I need to write an apology note to the teacher and the kid. I'm like, okay. I mean, my job got so much easier.
Done. Thank you, kid.
Yeah. And he is now like, I saw him recently out somewhere. He's a sophomore in college, and it's neat to be able to share those experiences, and for him to, and his mom also, to remember the powerful things that happened. So,
and like you said, I mean, it's not just elementary school and even middle school. Like whenever I was teaching seniors, like they would ask me, hey Mac, instead of writing all these words, can we do like a visual essay? And I'm like, yeah, go for it. And then you have to present it. Oh, great, fantastic. I'd rather do that instead of spending hours and hours of pouring and editing my own work and stuff like that. And so I was like, well, good job, way to be self-reflective and know your strengths, and ask to be able to shine those things.
Are there any like schools or certain buildings or things, like just to highlight, maybe one or two like specific things that you've seen in your A+ schools that maybe somebody could latch? Like somebody that's doing something well that you've seen that maybe inspire some other listeners or something. Like, oh my
goodness, yes.
we'll give you a minute of reflection.
Okay, I got to think and go, which do I want to tell you about? So, currently we have 60 active schools in the network across the state, rural, urban, suburban. They're all over the place. And we actually have what we call categories of affiliation. And the implementation, that's your first 3 years. Everybody lands there. And then participation and demonstration. So we have some schools that do, and again, this is all, we don't go, oh, you are now this. This is all self-determined. Schools go, you know what, we'd like to be demonstration because we really want to help the network, because we feel like we're doing some great things and we'd like other people to come in and see us. So that's something, if you go out there and look at us, you'll see those. There are 13 sites right now that are demonstration, and some others who are working on it. And again, we'd love everybody to be a demonstration school, but it, again, self-determined on what they want to do. There are some really great things. Harding Fine Arts Academy here in Oklahoma City, they've been A+ for about 13 years. And again, this kind of goes up and down. It's not like oh, once you're here, you're here.
Right.
It's always a learning process, and principals change and teachers change, and that's why we have ongoing training and try to help the schools to keep their own sustainability. But at that school, the past about 3 years, they've really kind of had a renewed focus, and to watch this secondary school really dig into that interdisciplinary work and to see the things that are happening between, say, like a French teacher and a biology teacher and a social studies teacher getting together to create some interdisciplinary planning, so that from class to class, the students are hearing and seeing some same things, and they can utilize some of the same projects in the different classes. It's really powerful. And at that secondary level particularly, because sometimes people are like, yeah, how do you really do that when I teach this and you do that and we have our own things? You know, they're really grasping on to like concept-based teaching and how that can really go across disciplines. At the elementary level, middle school level, we have an amazing middle school in Enid. That is same thing. They're just finishing up their implementation years, and they're already wanting to be a demonstration school, which is fantastic.
Awesome,
So if you go out to Enid, go see Emerson Elementary with, again, just amazing things that they do, opportunities that they've opened up the doors. We also have an early childhood center in Enid that is on fire as well. And to watch these little, they have their little 4-year-olds doing things like at Thanksgiving, they have to create an environment for their turkeys, and then they have to camouflage their turkeys so they can't be found. So to have 4-year-olds having to think through what materials you need, what colors, and they're covering all of their standards by doing that, but it's giving it to them in a different way rather than, color the sheet, the colors that we want you to do. So
and that's one of the things I also like about the program. If people want to see, real examples of it, you guys just set them up and say, there's a school over here. We'll set it all up for you. You guys can, take your admin team out there. Our school was a demonstration school for quite a few years. And we would always have people coming in and they say, oh, how did you do this? And how did you do this? And it's like, as you can see, anyone can do it. And so I like that component of it as well, because you not only talk about the theory of it, but then you get to see it in practice.
That's right.
With kids in motion, live time. And like I said, that's just really, really powerful. Like, you don't really get a lot of programs where you get to actually go out and see.
That's right.
Live and in person. So.
And that's, again, something I love about it is that collaboration of the network and the fact that we truly are creating a network of schools and a way for schools across the state to interact and have other people to reach out to. I also really love that we work with public, charter, private schools, all three. So we're really providing that platform of, charter schools were created to be a place to try things and then share out and give schools opportunities. And so we're a place where that happens, where we have everybody, we're about educating kids. And that's what the bottom line is. And so to be able to bring people into a safe spot to talk about that and not worry about, and if anybody says something at our meetings like, well, but you're a charter school, then they go, yes, but here's how it could work for you, or how do you think it could work? And so it really provides a great space for people to come together and have powerful conversations. And again, that's, I loved being a principal, and there are days I miss it so much. But for me, all of my work has always been I'm just passionate about education. I'm passionate about leadership, and I want to expand my territory to make a big mark. And being in this position and being with A+, we get to impact the whole state, and beyond. We have people coming to us from around the world, literally, for help. But definitely our big focus is right here in our state. And another project, if I can tell you real quick. So since we're the Institute, the network is our major focus, but of course we're doing other projects as well. And we'll work with, other companies come to us, people want to partner. So that's another benefit to network schools as well, is people who have arts inclinations will often come to us because they know we have schools who are already inclined that way. The Boeing Corporation recently gave us a $50,000 grant. And so we are working with first and second graders in 4 schools in Oklahoma City that it's called the Great Boeing STEAM Challenge. And so Boeing really wanted someone who understood STEAM, who really understood putting the A into the STEM, because you can add arts,
Right.
but what's the depth of it?
Yep.
And they want the youngest students to begin to understand and learn what STEAM and STEM are, rather than waiting till they're a little older and then going, maybe I'm interested. So that's in fact, I'm meeting with them this afternoon. We're going to visit one of the schools. And so those are some schools that are outside of our network as well. So we do work outside when possible, but we're excited again about what's happening there.
These are in Oklahoma City?
These are in Oklahoma City. Yep.
Wow.
Yep. And we have like some first graders. They were doing, it's all based on literacy as well, because again, we're believers that it all goes together, and STEM is great, but you're still reading. And so, so for example, one of the lessons and units is all built around Three Little Pigs, and it's called Blow, Wind, Blow. So the whole concept is about how does weather and wind and things, how does that affect the dynamics of buildings and structures and that type of thing, right?
Yeah.
And that's what Three Little Pigs is about. You have the three different types of materials. So there's STEM right there. And so these first graders have been creating structures themselves. Well, as many people know, the Oklahoma City Public Schools put STEAM labs into all of their schools. So we're already seeing that these classes that are working with our STEAM specialist, the kids, back to that ownership. So 6-year-olds they're taking ownership and transferring what they're learning out of this information and wanting to take it further in their STEAM labs. So these kids took their structures and they did some testing on would they withstand different forces of blowing on them and wind and that type of thing. But then they wanted to take them to their STEAM lab and build a town out of them and put their B-bots in there, and they coded those and did whatever they did so their B-bots could go through their town. And so they were able to, again, able to transfer the knowledge that they're getting, able to use the arts and the arts words, but also beginning to understand what an engineer is and what a meteorologist is, and giving them the real words and, not just, I like the weather. So,
Very good.
Yeah.
Sandra, is there anything else before we wrap up that you'd like to share with us?
I'm sure there's all kinds of things I'd love to share, because you can tell I love talking about it, but I think we've covered a really good amount.
What's the conference name again?
Not Your Average Conference, June 9th.
Got it.
At UCO.
Got it.
Yeah.
And how do they go about signing up for that?
Okay. Yep. So if you want to register for that, you can go to our Facebook page. You can go to our website, which I know is all going to be linked, but that's just okaplus.org.
It's an official thing. It has to be in the show notes.
Okay.
It's
that's in
official.
the show notes.
Yeah.
Okay. Very
very
good. But yeah, you can register there. It is a one-day conference. It's $75 for non-network schools. So, we try to do everything pretty reasonably.
Yeah, super cheap.
So,
super cheap for a day.
Yeah, absolutely.
Especially for Trans-Siberian Orchestra and
Yeah,
electrified strings.
and
Mac will be waiting at the front door.
He's going to
bringing the
have
violin.
he'll
I
have
can
all
see
his
him
stuff.
knocking people over to get in front.
Yeah.
Excuse me, ma'am.
I need him now. Yeah. You can go to our website right now, and we already have one little video of him where he's like promoting. It'll be out on our social media later, but it's already on our website.
Gee, what are you going to do next?
Yeah.
How exciting.
I know this guy's going to be running out of it.
He's amazing. I have to tell you.
Yeah, I've been to several of their shows.
Yeah.
That guy is intense.
He is.
intense.
That's a really good word.
He's
Yeah.
intense.
Yeah. So.
Sandra Kent, Oklahoma A+ Schools, thank you very much for being with us. Thank you for sharing all this.
So much information.
Yeah, man, it's
That
really
was
good.
unbelievable.
People go to the website, sign up for the conference, $75. That's it. If you're a non-network school, check out all the 8 essentials that are on their website. Sign up for some free training for the summer. Get it together. Bring the arts to your classroom. Turn your STEM into STEAM, and rock it like an A+ teacher should. Sandra, thank you once again for being here.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Very enjoyable.
For School Zone Podcast, this is Jason Mack and Midkiff signing out. Bye.